Hello everyone, I'm Andy from the Pixel Pub and I'm here with the top 10 games 2024. Okay, this is the big one. And if everything goes according to plan, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Should be dropping this on Christmas Day. I hope everyone had a great time opening presents, eating some candy, eating some good food, fun time with your family and friends. Once again, Merry Christmas. Let's get to the top 10 games of 2024. Okay, once again, I got my trusty stocking here. What did Santa bring me for the top 10 games of 2024? Number 10, it's Fields of Mistria. I'm put the Steam Deck down to talk about Fields of Mistria. So Fields of Mistria is number 10 because it's in early access. It's not fully done yet, but I felt like I had to put it on my list because the, 20 or so hours that I played of it, I had a damn good time. Those 20 hours were like in a handful of days. I just breezed right through it. I got to the point where I felt like I was bumping up on the edge of the early access stuff, and I just wanted to put it down, save it for when the game gets fully baked and I could dig back into it. Oh, I'm ready to go back right now. They have put out one major update since I put it down, and they've added a lot of stuff according to their list. I was just looking at it and I was like, man, that's a lot. But yeah, Fields of Mystery number 10. If you don't know, it is a Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon alike. It is a farming game with your life sim stuff where you can interact with the townspeople, have relationships, get married, all that fun stuff. But with a wee bit of magic involved as well. Before I start playing, I unlocked a spell where I can make it rain on my crops, and that's a good bit of fun. I really like these types of games when they're done right. Like Stardew Valley was the king of that. And for me, it's all about feel. Like, how does it feel? There's a lot of movement stuff that you have to do in these games that you're doing over and over and over again, especially with the farming stuff. And if that feels bad, I'm immediately turned off. So this one, they nailed it. It's great. I can't wait till it goes 1.0. We can have a good old time. I'll get a physical version for the Switch probably, if that ever happens. So yeah, number 10 is Fields of Mistria. What I got for number 9 here in the stocking is East 10 Nordics. East 10 is a game that I had just beat a handful of days ago. I was extremely hyped for this game. It was not in my games to look forward to in 2024 because I don't think I knew it was going to come out this year when I did that video. But as soon as I did know it was going to come out, I went ahead and pre-ordered it, and I wanted to get it. It was actually weird with Amazon. I pre-ordered it, and they didn't ship it for like a handful of days, and then they said, well, you might not get it. I was like, what? So I had to get it. I got a version off eBay. It was the weirdest thing. And I haven't checked Amazon to see if they're selling it now. But anyway, I love the E series. This is the fourth one that I've played through completely. I did 8, Memories of Celceta, 9, and this one. And East 8's still my favorite. This one is probably my least favorite of the ones that I've beaten. It's still a lot of fun to play. Just a great action RPG with the quick dodges and the quick defends and all this other stuff that stops time and you can do the big attacks. Super fun with that type of stuff. But for me, the movement felt inferior to 8 and 9 to me. I felt 8 and 9 they had that snappy movement that just seemed like pixel perfect precision of just running around and attacking and stuff like that. Everything about the game felt super fun. Some parts of this stuff felt sluggish. I thought it was something I would get used to, and I did for the most part. I did end up really liking the game, but just that little bit brought it down. The ship stuff was fine. If I could avoid a ship battle, I did. Like, I didn't really take them on when I didn't have to, but when I did have to do them, it was fine. A lot of the new movement stuff they added with like the little surfboard that you have, and you can surf across these lines and over water, and you can swing on this mana rope that you have. That all feels really good. It's the East game that has now ditched the party system that was part of East 7 onward, and I actually miss it. I really like the party system where you had the different attacks for different party members, and you could switch instantly between all of them, and the enemies had different, they were weak to blunt attacks or piercing attacks or sharp attacks, stuff like that. I really enjoyed that. They got rid of it to have the 2-person add-on Karja, and you can switch back and forth. I thought I saw an interview with one of the producers of the game that said they did that so they can get it running better on the Switch, which, I don't know. Seems like a weird reason to ditch an entire system, but hey, if they could sell more copies on the Switch, I guess more power to them. being my least favorite East game I played is still saying a lot for the East series as a whole, because I still really like it. I still love the fun, frantic action RPG-ness of it. And yeah, and they gave Adol a voice in this, and it's not good. It's like, why didn't you do that? And he only talks sporadically. Like, he talks when you like find stuff on the map, and he sounds weird, and even the art kind of looks weird. Like, look at that picture of Adol. He's so, it's weird looking. But anyway, it's a shame. I wish I liked it better, but it's still pretty good. East 10. Okay, next up, number 8 is UFO 50. UFO 50, just like Fields of Mistria, whenever a physical version comes out for it, I will get it. Not one available at the time. And just like Fields of Mistria, I believe UFO 50 is only available on Steam. For those of y'all who do not know what UFO 50 is, it is a collection of 50 games that are retro-inspired games. They are games that are seemingly made for this fictional console slash kind of home computer that basically had games developed for it in the late 80s, early 90s, and it's a big grid of games, and they're listed chronologically. So you got the games that came out earliest at the top left, games that came out the latest at the top right, and you can see the development of the system as it goes on. Like, the games are very simple at the top, they get more complicated at the bottom, both graphically and mechanics wise. I did my top 5 UFO 50 games here earlier in the month. I just had a damn fun time playing this game, going through all the different versions of the games and seeing the sequels and stuff like that. They just, so much thought and care was put into this project. I know it took a very, very long time to come out. I remember hearing about it years and years ago from the former Spelunky developer and a bunch of other people, because it is 50 games. I just had a great time. It came out actually while we were in Canada, and I was like, well, maybe I'll get that eventually. Maybe I'll wait for a physical version. But just watching people play all these games and just knowing that I'm seeing people play like 2 or 3 of what is 50, I had to get it. I had to dig in right away, and I had so much fun with Pilot Quest and Night Manor and Val Face, whatever that game was called. There's some weird names in there. Just a fun, delightful thing. I love retro compilations of like made-up games, stuff like Retro Game Challenge and this, and Arcade Paradise. I love stuff like that. I wish there was more of it. This one's the best out of all of them, as far as I can tell. UFO 50 is number 8. Okay, number 7. What does Santa bring me? Hope it's a fun one. It is Balatro. Now, Balatro is a recent pickup for me. It was something that came out very early on in the year. Completely blew up on the internet. People loved it. It was amazing. They could not stop talking about it. Week after week of podcasts I was listening to, they kept talking about Balatro. Now, I was hesitant to play it because I don't know how to play poker. I don't know poker hands. I don't know card games in general. Just not for me. So I was like, well, they can have that fun with that, and I'll be all right. But as soon as I started looking at Black Friday deals around that time, I was like, well, let's see what's available, and saw Balatro, and I did not know that it had a physical version. I thought it was digital only. I knew that there was, it was across all the consoles and on phone. I'm like, well, there's not a physical version. Turns out there was, and it was only $20 at Best Buy. There's something rattling around here. Oh yes, the cards. There's little Joker cards. See? Anyway, it was $20 at Best Buy, so I immediately grabbed it. I was like, okay, this is a sign I need to play this game. I love grabbing physical Switch versions of games, and this is one of the best games of the year people were talking about. So I played it, and damn, they were right. I still have a Google Chrome little tab on my phone of poker hands, so when I do play it, I can try to figure things out. But I know Kathy has completely fallen in love with it. She's unlocked a lot of decks and beaten a lot of decks, and I haven't played as much as her. That's why it's so low on the list. I know I will play it a lot when I do sit down with it, but the I don't know, the handful of sit downs that I have played with it, I had a damn good time, and it was very addicting when I first played it. When I first popped it into the Switch that day, not really knowing how to feel about it or what to expect, I played it for like 4 hours straight. So this game is the real deal. Do not sleep on Balatro. If you have a way to play it because it's a damn good time. Okay, number 6 is the game that I would have never thought would be on my top 10 list, let alone so high. When I first heard about it, I was like, that looks weird. Why did they do that? It is Arzette, Jewel of Faramore. It is the clone of the old Philips CDI Zelda games, the Wand of Gamelon and the Mask of Evil. I know one of them you play as Zelda, one of them you play as Link. It's got the funky cutscenes and everything with the bad voice acting and the weird art style and art direction. This game copies every single bit of that to a T, but the difference is they made a fun game versus those games being bad. And the soundtrack's amazing. Just everything screams just, you know, multimedia of the early 90s, like 1993, 1992, stuff like that. Just touch my microphone. Anyway, Arzette, just a damn good time. I played through it. I think I just beat it in like 2 sittings. It's not a very long game, but it is very addicting with this quote-unquote Metroidvania style where you unlock different things and you want to go back to the different stages of the game and see what you can do to poke around and prod a little bit further to make it, to find that little hidden thing or unlock that door or whatever. And yeah, they did the thing that they wanted to do. Everything feels directly from those old games, like even the animation of all the characters and the weird dialogue and just the way their heads move and eyes bulge out and stuff like that. What a good time. Arzette, Jewel of Faramore. Do not sleep on this game. If you like Metroidvanias or like, you know, Xanadu's, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest type games, check out Arzette because it's a damn good time. Okay, 2024 was a big year for RPGs for me. I played a ton of them, from like the Star Ocean remake, Super Mario RPG remakes that came out last year, to the Trails games I played through. I'm playing my 4th one this year, to just about the entire rest of this list. And this is a game that I played on Game Pass, the remake of Persona 3 Reload. We picked up a physical version on PS5 because I liked it so much, and Kathy refuses to play anything on Xbox, so she's going to play it on PS5. And man, what a great time. Persona, still good as it turns out, and this is a damn fine remake of the Persona 3 on the PS2. Not necessarily Persona Portable, which is on the PSP, because that had a whole extra stuff with, like, you could pick a female protagonist and change the story up a little bit, I think. It's still a damn good time. It's the Persona game that started the formula of what would be Persona 4 and 5 and just completely dominating the world of RPGs. This is where it started, and it is a damn fine remake. It looks good. It sounds good. The story for me was kind of non-existent until about the 15-hour mark. So you start meeting some more characters and other stuff starts happening. Like, it seems like you're going into this tower. Why? Because you have to. Once you get past all that, the story rolls out and it gets more complicated. More characters are brought in. More conspiracies are brought in and figure out why things are going on. And it's got a sad ending. And all that stuff makes it number 5 on my list. Persona 3 Reload. Okay, number 4 was a game that I thought was going to be on my number 1 for the longest time because its prequel was my number 1 game of the year it came out. But it is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the sequel to Final Fantasy VII Remake, the continuation of the story of the remake of Final Fantasy VII. So, to start off with the good stuff, it's really, really good. I am a huge Final Fantasy VII fan. It was my first RPG that I really got into. And when they announced this remake, I was very, very hyped. I was kind of bummed out that they were going to break it up into chunks, and the first chunk was all going to be a Midgard, because I do not like Midgard playing through it again. Like, it's just the greatness of it all, like, you know, the sad state of affairs that the whole town is in. It's just a very depressing place to be at the start of the game, and have an entire game and around that area. I was, you know, not super excited for that. But they made it work. They knocked it out of the park. They added a bunch of extra stuff that just worked, and man, awesome. So I was very excited for this. For when you get out of that town, you get to explore the greater world of Final Fantasy VII. You get to go to the Chocobo Farm, and Costa del Sol, and the Gold Saucer, and Cosmo Canyon, and all these other places that are iconic for me, and a lot of other JRPG players. And for the open world style that they have, that stuff works for me incredibly well. Like, you get to see a lot of stuff. It's like, oh man, I kind of remember that vaguely. Like, they took this one little thing and expanded upon it, and it takes everything from your imagination when you're playing that game as, you know, a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, or whatever it was when I played it, and expands upon it and makes it, you know, gorgeous on the big TV. All that works for a huge Final Fantasy fan like myself. However, the reason why it's not number 1 is because the story that they choose to take from Final Fantasy VII and across that entire game and just put into this one game is they're chasing Sephiroth. And you start out that way and you end that way. So there's not a lot of momentum to go to place to place to place. You're not like, I got to see what happens next in the story, because it's all, no, we gotta keep going. We gotta go over here because he's here. Then we gotta go over here because he's there, and it doesn't feel fully fleshed out. And also, a lot of that cool stuff that they added to the story in Final Fantasy VII Remake is not really here. And the remake, or the ending, I couldn't make heads or tails out of. And I probably should look up some videos of smarter people explaining to me what they think happened. But I haven't. I just didn't feel the urge to, which is sad. But it was still a ton of fun to play. I love that battle system that the Final Fantasy Remake introduced, and it continues on in this game. And you get all the little fun side stuff. I loved going to each new area and finding out what its unique little gameplay thing that was going to be. One of them is like the Fort Condor real-time strategy type of little mini game. They've fleshed that out a lot. There's stuff like that everywhere. The Queen's Blood stuff was fun until I got to the tournament on the boat, and I beat the tournament. You know, I was like, okay, I think I'm done with this. I think I'm done with Queen's Blood. But up until that, it was my favorite card game in a JRPG since Triple Triad on the Final Fantasy VIII, and that's high praise coming from me. But yeah, just they added a lot of game into this one game, and I know that that's a negative for some people, which I don't understand. Let me rant about this for a second. I've heard people say that's too much game. Like they play and they unlock everything in the first area, the grasslands, and they go to Junon and they unlock everything there. And then they've been playing for 30 hours and they've only seen 2 areas. It's like, well, that's not the game's fault. That's your fault. Like, it's not, you don't go to a buffet and then eat every single thing on the thing and then scream at the restaurant for providing it for you. It's like, no, you did that. You did that to yourself. Like, it's just there for you. So the way I play the game, the way I play all my games really, is I do everything that I want to do until I don't want to do it. And then I just do the main stuff. And that's having too much for it's not a negative for me. It was a pretty big positive. I loved all the stuff that they added, all the little mini games. Great time. And Final Fantasy VII, I don't know if it's known for it now, but at the time, it had a lot of mini games, like with the snowboarding and even the little stuff where you're in Junon, you had to control the dolphin thing to catch the girl or whatever, jump out the air at the right time. All that stuff is just, there's adding to the spirit of those mini games in this game, and it's pretty damn cool. But it's only number 4, so what could be number 3? Okay, number 3 was a game I played earlier on in the year, maybe around the March time frame. But it was my game of the year right then and there after I beat it, and it stayed on top until like a month ago. It is Unicorn Overlord. And Unicorn Overlord is a real-time strategy kind of ogre battle-ish game developed by Vanillaware, put out by Atlas. Atlas, hell of a year for Atlas and Sega. So I'm not usually big on real-time strategy games. I'm not really big on strategy games in general because I don't think my mind works in those areas. I played Final Fantasy Tactics when I was a kid. That's turn-based. But I just had a lot more time to figure it out. And I think for most people, Final Fantasy Tactics is a fairly easy tactics game. But real-time strategy games, I messed around with StarCraft on the PC, the remastered version. I was like, I can't get past the tutorial missions. Like, what am I doing? So I was hesitant to play Unicorn Overlord, even though every time I see a Vanillaware game, I'm immediately attracted to it because they just have amazing art, amazing animation. They fire on all cylinders on that front. But I actually got lucky. Throughout this year, I think Walmart in general has just been diminishing all of their physical media sections, from music to movies to video games, all of it. And I just got lucky and saw this at Walmart brand new for like $30, and it had been out for like, I don't know, 3 weeks, 2 weeks. It was like it had just come out, and they're already clearancing it out. And I was like, great. So I picked it up, tried it out, kind of was immediately blown away. I was like, I know how to do this. I can do this. Yes, I'm having a great time. And the graphics go a long way for it. The music goes a long way for it. All the different characters, the big ensemble cast, goes a long way for it. And all the different ways you can have the battles go. Like it has kind of like the gambit system from Final Fantasy 12, where you put your characters in a certain order, and then you can have order of operations on who will do what when, and based on what you know, what the conditions are to be met for that. So like if someone falls below certain percent amount of HP, so-and-so will cast heal, or stuff like that. Or if someone, this type of enemies in the front row, they'll do this first. And when you have those battles, people meet up and all those order operations happen, and the battle just happens, boom, done, in and out. You could see at the beginning of the battle what your percentage of chance of winning is. You can skip the whole battle entirely. You can say, well, I'm gonna win this, skip, and it's awesome. And something about that really really worked for me, and putting all the different characters together and unlocking their special classes and stuff like that. Just what a fun time. I never expected a real-time strategy game like this to kind of blow me away, but it did. That's why it's number 3, Unicorn Overlord. Great time. Okay, number 2 is a big, heavy hitter as well in the RPG realm. It is Metaphor ReFantazio. Now, it's a shame about this game being number 2, because it was really, really good, but I just knew it wasn't going to be number 1 because I hadn't played my number 1 game yet, but I had a feeling it was going to be my number 1 game. So I kind of still looking at this, I'm like, probably number 2. But number 2, still damn good. Metaphor ReFantazio, in the year of the dozen RPGs that I played, this one's the best one. What a fun time. Atlas knocking it out of the park yet again. It's still not as good as like Persona 5 or Persona 4, but the stuff that it does, it is still nailing super hard, because it's just a fun game that was very, very hard to put down. As soon as I started playing it, I was in. That kind of starts at a fast pace for one of these types of games. You're meeting characters very quickly, getting in battles very quickly. It's got that fun hybrid battle system that I think Tales from the Daybreak might have too, where you can run around and attack people physically with your sword in the map, and if they're a certain level, you can go into a turn-based battle with them. If they're not a certain level, if they're under that certain level, you just kill them, and it's great. So I would go through dungeons kind of later on than I should have been, and I was over leveled, and I was just demolishing everything with my weapons, not even getting into turn-based battles. It was great. I was just having an amazing time. I love the archetype system. It's kind of maybe a little bit of a slimmed down but maybe more complex version of like the Persona system, where instead of your main character being the person who can equip all these different personas, everyone in your party can equip any of the archetypes that you unlock, and the archetypes have upgraded versions of them, like kind of a lot of different ones. By the end of the game, I was like, man, there's a lot. I didn't know there was going to be this many archetypes in the game. And you unlock them in fun ways of meeting new characters, and like, oh, you met this character, now you can be a brawler. Or you met this character, now you can be, or whatever. It was just, what a cool little thing. And the story, all the different stories, stuff that you meet with your followers, all their individual stories, they're all pretty damn good. Pretty, some of them are intense and sad. It's a dark world of Metaphor, and there's a lot of bad stuff that happens to good people, which sucks. But you're trying to be king, you're trying to make it right, and your little dude in his coat, his little jacket that looks like a spreadsheet, he's trying to change the world. But yeah, all that fun stuff that you can relate to if you play Persona games, the fun music, the fun battle system, the fun artwork, the fun characters, all that applies to this game as well. So please, if you're a Persona fan, check out Metaphor. Okay, I realize as I got to number 1 that for the past couple games I haven't been using my stocking gimmick. Oh well. So now that I got my stocking again, what's number 1? What's in here? It's Astro Bot. Now, like I said, when I was playing through Metaphor, I knew I was wanting to play Astro Bot. Astro Bot came out kind of earlier in the year. I want to say around August, maybe September, but it came out the same week as Visions of Mana. I bought Visions of Mana instead of Astro Bot, and that was a bad choice. Visions of Mana was fun for about 15 hours, and then I got very bored, which sucks. I should have got Astro Bot, but I did get Astro Bot. It was on a Black Friday deal. It was like $10 off or something like that, but I picked it up, put it in, And like 4 days later, I'd beaten it. I'd gotten a platinum trophy, unlocked all the robots, unlocked all the puzzle pieces, played through every level. Just what a damn good fun time. What a fun 3D platformer. Like, people had said that this is like the first 3D platformer, or first platformer in general, that could rival like a Mario or anything made by Nintendo. They're right. It's fucking amazing. As I'm recording this right now, the Game Awards are tonight, and I don't think Astro Bot's going to take Game of the Year. It is nominated, but...
And the Game of the Year is... Astro Bot!
Hell, if I was voting, I'd be voting for it 10 out of 10 all day long. Just a fun experience for me. Super laden with nostalgia. Like, they did all the nostalgia stuff with Astro's Playroom, with the free version that's on PlayStation. You've got PlayStation 5. You could download that right now and play around with it and get a good feel of what Astro Bot is like. But you unlock all the PlayStation parts. This one has a lot of the PlayStation characters, a lot of fun ones, a lot of obscure ones. And I was like, who is that? And after I searched for a long time, I was like, oh, that's, so-and-so. That's super cool. There are some very noted absent people from it, which is kind of weird, but that doesn't matter. It's just a great fun time. I've loved the Astro Bot series since the first one, Astro Bot's Rescue Mission, with the PlayStation VR. It's the best VR thing I've ever played. And Astro's Playroom on the PlayStation 5 was one of the best launch things I've seen in a very long time on any console. It's probably going back to like the damn Super Nintendo. Play super fun game without spending any extra money. And I was very hyped for Astro Bot coming out. I knew I was going to play it before the end of the year. I was hoping for a steeper Black Friday discount, because usually the big companies that put out their games, stuff like EA, Ubisoft, Sony, you get a lot of the deep discounts on Black Friday. And this one didn't get it, but I knew I was going to get it on Black Friday anyway, so I just went ahead and got it. And boy howdy, that was my Thanksgiving break, just playing this every single night till I got that platinum. What a fun time. It is my game of the year. It's my #1 game of the year for 2024. Astro Bot, please, please, please play this game. Have a good time. If you're a PlayStation fan like me since the beginning, you'll get all the feels and stuff like that. Super fun. Can't say enough good things about Astro Bot. #1 game of 2024. That's been my top 10 games for 2024. Once again, have a Merry Christmas. I think I'm about to run out of SD card space on my camera here. I've been Andy from the Pixel Pub. Merry Christmas. Please like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. Peace out.